Have you ever stopped to think about how your phone just knows what word you're about to type? Or how a machine can translate a whole sentence from one language to another almost instantly? Well, the secret sauce is teaching machines to understand sequences. To get that order and context are everything. So let's dive into this amazing architecture of memory. And this quote from Stanford really nails it. Our world isn't just a collection of static pictures. It's a constant flow. Think about it. Language, music, even the stock market, it all unfolds, moment by moment. To make any sense of it, you can't just look at one piece by itself. You have to understand how it connects to everything that came before. And that, right there, is the big question. A typical neural network gets to see all of its inputs at the same time. But with a sentence, you don't know the end when you're at the beginning. So the challenge becomes, how do you build a machine that can actually read, or listen? One that can remember the flow of information as it happens. Well, the first big breakthrough was this really elegant, really powerful idea. What if we created a neural network that could loop back on itself? What if we could give it a way to create its own memory? And that's exactly what a recurrent neural network, or RNN, does. See, instead of information just moving forward, an RNN has this feedback loop. At every single step, as it looks at a new piece of a sequence, like the next word in a sentence, it also gets information from the step that just happened. This ability to hold on to information is managed by something called the hidden state. You can think of it as the network's working memory. To picture this, you can imagine that loop getting unrolled through time. It's not really one network with a loop, it's more like a chain of identical networks, where each link in the chain passes its memory on to the next. And because they all share the same rules, the same weights, the network learns a single, consistent way to update its memory as it reads along. And that hidden state, well, that's really the magic ingredient here. It's like a running summary of everything the network has seen so far. So when it sees the word is in the phrase "the sky is," its hidden state still has a memory, a little trace of the word sky. And that's what helps it predict that the next word is probably blue. It's a really simple concept, but it was a revolutionary step for artificial memory. But like any simple memory, it had a pretty big flaw. It was great at remembering what just happened, but it was terrible with long-term dependencies. It was almost like a person with severe short-term memory loss. This sentence is a perfect example of the problem. To correctly predict the word were at the end, the network absolutely has to remember the word flights from all the way at the beginning, because flights is plural, so you need were. But a simple RNN gets lost in all the singular words in the middle, like airline and was. So this issue has a name. It's called the vanishing gradient problem. Basically, when the network is learning, the error signal that tells it how to adjust its connections gets weaker and weaker as it travels back in time through the sequence. By the time that signal gets to the beginning of a long sentence, it's practically gone. It's vanished. So the influence of those crucial early words just fades away. This memory problem really sparked a huge wave of innovation. Researchers knew they didn't just need a memory, they needed a way to manage that memory. They needed smarter designs that could learn what to hold on to, and, just as importantly, what to forget. And that's when we got the Long Short-Term Memory Network, or LSTM. And this was an absolute game changer. An LSTM is a much more sophisticated RNN cell that has these things called gates. You can think of them as little control knobs that learn to regulate the flow of information, and that's how they solve that pesky vanishing gradient problem. It works like this. First, you have the forget gate. Its job is to look at the old memory and decide what's no longer relevant, like, say, the subject of a previous sentence. Then the input gate decides what new information is important enough to add to the memory. And finally, the output gate takes this carefully curated memory and decides what to output for the current step. It's a brilliant little system. Now, a slightly streamlined version of this is the gated recurrent unit, or GRU. It basically combines the forget and input gates into a single update gate. The result is a simpler model that's usually faster to train, but often performs just as well. It's a really popular choice because of that efficiency. So what if you need even more power? Well, there are two main ways to scale things up. You can either go deeper or you can go broader. Going deeper means creating a stacked RNN, where you literally stack networks on top of each other. Going broader leads you to a bidirectional RNN, which looks at the context from both the past and the future. A stacked network can create this really cool hierarchy of understanding.
Maybe the first layer learns words, and the layer above it learns sentence structure. And at the same time, the bidirectional approach reads the sentence twice, once from left to right, and then again from right to left. Putting it all together gives the network this incredibly rich, complete understanding of any given word's context.
Okay, so all the models we looked at so far have this one-to-one relationship. One input, one output. But what about something like machine translation? Where a sentence might be 10 words in one language, but 12 words in another. For that, we need a whole new design. This is where the encoder-decoder model, also known as sequence-to-sequence, comes in. It's basically a team of two RNNs. The first one, the encoder, has one job: read the entire input sentence and compress all of its meaning into a single package, a vector. Then, the second RNN, the decoder, takes that summary vector and unpacks it, generating the translated sentence word by word. Now, it's a brilliant idea, but it has one major weakness. Forcing the entire meaning of a long, complicated sentence into one little fixed-length vector creates what's called an information bottleneck. It's kind of like trying to summarize the entire novel War and Peace in a single tweet. You're just bound to lose a lot of important details. But the field moved incredibly fast to solve this. These encoder-decoder models showed up in 2014. By 2015, a new idea called the attention mechanism was introduced. It let the decoder look back at all the input words, not just the final summary, which totally solved the bottleneck. And just 2 years after that, this idea paved the way for the transformer architecture, which, it changed everything.
Now, so far, we've only been talking about linear sequences, things that look like a chain. But what about data that's not in a line? What about data that has a hierarchical structure, like a family tree, or the grammatical structure of a sentence? For that, we need a totally different kind of network.
And that's where recursive neural networks come into play. See, unlike the chain-like structure of a recurrent network, a recursive network is built for these tree-like hierarchies. Instead of processing things one after another, it works its way up the tree, combining smaller pieces to understand the bigger picture. This makes it perfect for things like analyzing the grammatical structure of a sentence. Okay, we've been deep in the weeds with a lot of theory, so let's pull back and see how all of these different architectures actually show up in the tools and applications that you and I use every single day. The impact is just massive. These architectures are the engine behind Google Translate, the speech recognition in your phone and smart speakers, and the tools that can summarize long articles. They power sentiment analysis, they help generate captions for images, and they're even used in chatbots for mental health care and for forecasting financial markets. It's everywhere. So, recurrent neural networks gave AI a memory, this incredible ability to understand context over time. It was a monumental leap forward. But it also pointed the way to the next great challenge. Remember how the bottleneck problem was solved by letting the model look back at the entire input? Well, that sparked a new question. What if, instead of just remembering the past, an AI could learn exactly which parts of the past were most important to pay attention to at any given moment? That simple idea? Well, that would lead to the next revolution in AI.